Okay, so after that initial hexen on hexen violence, we're back into just standard sort of creeping. We have TheoRy here uh, with his Conclave Anvil, and I don't see a Brute coming out yet. There's our first Brute. But going mostly for army, where it looks like we've got a shrine down for Snoxtar already, who opened just a single vault and has now got 5 fiends along with that from that first camp. That's 3 from the camp and 2 from splitting a Brute. Looks like another Brute's going to get split here. Meanwhile, we have TheoRy creeping his speed camp already. Different pattern in the creeps, and this can sometimes mean a little bit of aggression. If this speed camp goes down, then sometimes you continue to push forward, but it looks like Fiend's running across the map to this speed camp where there is a farm already. And it looks like TheoRy is going to go for his vision camp where he's got a farm. Okay, so that means that this shrine is going to get up without there being any aggression. Oh, and we have a greater shrine almost completed out of Snoxtar. We now have just a shrine being placed for TheoRy and no greater shrine on the way. Now there's going to be some little skirmish here in the middle of the map. These fiends may be trying to get a run by or try to do a little surround. Single fiend. Ooh, aggroing the creeps and forcing. And, oh wow. Nightfall infestation. I'm curious how he had vision on that. Oh, there is still a single fiend in there, it looked like. So that's forcing this creeping going on, and meanwhile these fiends are skirting right on by, trying to do some funny business here. Into the main or into the natural, going straight for this shrine. I really like this play. Any damage you do to this shrine is going to stay on there. Either you force the cancel or you can come back later and finish it off. Sure enough, as the army shows up, these fiends get out of there, getting the damage done. And again, in other cases, you might think, oh, that damage can be repaired or healed up, but for the infernals, that's just not possible. So any damage you deal is good. This is a scout mag, or sort of just hanging out by himself, trying to grab this Therium camp, saying, I cost a lot of Therium, I might as well go get the Therium camp. And again, the fiends are back. This time they're going for some imps. I think this is good. You can definitely get some imp kills, but again, could be just going to focus the shrine. The thing about focusing the shrine is once the shrine's gone, you have to wait for it to rebuild. You can't just set the imps back to mining. And now they're turning on these 2 gaunts that rallied. And this is maybe a little overextension because now the army's getting back, but nope, the fiends do manage to get away. Oh, they're a little indecisive. They're not sure where they want to go. And one gets surrounded by fell hogs. That's a nice. That's some pro fell hogs use there. Couple fiends going down, and also taking out this FG, almost taking it out. It actually managed to stay alive because that was a permanent one with 200 HP. Now down to 95. Again, any infernal building's not going to heal, so once you do that damage, you can come back later and finish it off. Okay, so Snoxtar's been trying to do a little bit of damage with his fiends, but I don't know if he's really got enough damage done to he killed a couple imps and got some damage on the shrine. Until he finishes it off, that's sort of potential damage. Going to take out this Therium camp. We see a Weaver, joining Snoxtar's army here. I kind of like how this mid-game, like a single mag, instead of in the older meta, you might be just pumping as many mags as you can. But if you sort of overcommit to mags, then your opponent might go Weavers and you might be neutralized by that. But having absolutely no mags, I think, is also kind of a mistake. It's good to have 1 or 2, just in case you can get in there with a good stomp or trample without a Weaver Lash, although now it looks like we might get a little confrontation. No, this is a skirmishing army that does not want to run into the main army. That's a big, slow, lumbering Weaver army that, yeah, the Fiends can definitely run away from and and maybe scurry around, although they just went back to their main army. There's a brute here, a scout brute, a scout gaunt, so I mean, I like this kind of play, just splitting 1 or 2 units off, but not using fiends here, using a whole brute. Although that whole army's going to come and take him out. He's going to try and run away, splitting into some fiends to get that speed. These fiends are just trying to take some towers now. TheoRy does have most of the towers on the map, so Snoxtar is trying to regain some of them. That's probably just from good fiend use. This one fiend trying to go toe-to-toe with the Gaunt. I'm not sure who wins that, actually. Okay, some fiends trying to run by now, but actually getting caught into the army and probably going to get terminated. These 2 brave fiends saying, I'm going to take out this Weaver all by myself. Not even managing to get its white health down, unfortunately. But Snoxtar is regaining some of the towers on the map and is now retaking his own health camp. We see that TheoRy's managed to put down his 3rd up here, while Snoxtar also with some added production. And let's see, we're not up to an Elder Shrine yet. And do we have production? We have some upgrades from the Ritual Chamber, but I don't see a Hellforge. And then, okay, more production, it looks like, going down here as well. Ritual Chamber, nothing on at the moment, and I don't see a Hellforge, so it's pretty much similar tech. I don't see the Elder Shrine or the Twilight Spires out yet. Here we see a cancel. That's good cancel to save those resources, and some speedy units trying to come over here and maybe do some damage, although that they decide we're flanking on the wrong side. Actually, this is not looking super great. TheoRy's army is a little bit in a bad position. A couple of his weavers get lashed in, but they do their job, which is to do some tanking. One of them's trying to teleport out. Will it get out of there? No, it goes down. And another one lashing in a Hellborn here. That's unfortunate as well. TheoRy's being pushed back. And now we get another double lash on these weavers. A couple weavers going down. And now it's just weavers and gaunts versus brutes and gaunts. And the TheoRy's gaunts do have a really nice concave on the high ground, but they are firing a lot of their shots at these weavers, which are doing their job, which is just tank. Because as gaunts, you want to be doing damage to gaunts. The more gaunts you kill, the more fiends you can get out. Weavers take so much to kill, and unfortunately that's a GG out of TheoRy. And here we are back at it in game 2, where we have TheoRy in the red infernal, hoping to take a game back so that he can force a game 3 against his teammate and opponent Snoxtar in the blue infernal. We got a conclave up here from Snoxtar, and we had a conclave also out of TheoRy to open. And we also have some hexens meeting in the center of the map. Now last time, TheoRy turned around and ran. Oh, and Snoxtar just aggroes the creeps, and hopefully, of course, they go for TheoRy's. Now that, I think that was probably known that's what was going to happen by Snoxtar. I don't play enough, but I think they aggro on the closest. And so, because TheoRy's hexen happened to be closer, that was good strategy. Notice he just comes out here, eats the cabbage, and goes home. That's just cheeky. He's saying, I want to deny that cabbage from TheoRy when he's creeping. TheoRy's imp here going to take out or make a farm here, and TheoRy's hexen also had to do the hokey pokey to dance out of there. She was starting to get focused down and took a little bit of real damage, not just her shroud skin, though it's starting to regen a bit. Gaunt's coming out for creeping, and we got Gaunt's creeping over here as well. And for these early Shadow Mastiff, I really feel like the Gaunts, you can micro them a little bit easier, mostly just because they're ranged. But then, of course, you have to figure out what are you going to tank with. These Shadow Mastiffs are going to try and tank, and these Fiends go down really quick. You want to keep them alive. So you keep seeing how TheoRy pulls his Fiends back to keep them alive, to just maximize the value of his army. And it looks like Snoxtar's a little ahead of him, already creeping in the health camp with the help of those Fellhogs. You also see how he aggroed them onto the Fellhogs first. again, so that he can maintain his army as much as possible. Same thing going on down here. We have 2 extra gaunts being added. So I'm curious now what that means about the timing of their naturals. So this one's about halfway done for Snoxtar. A little bit slower, it looks like, for TheoRy, but not a lot. Not enough worth commenting on, really. And I feel like they're really kind of mirroring each other in terms of what's going on. We got Fiends and Gaunts, and maybe a couple extra Gaunts out of TheoRy. What could that mean? That maybe we see a Ritual Chamber going down for Snoxtar just now, and not quite yet for TheoRy, but we do see this, another base going down for TheoRy. Oh, and that's that little mini-map bug there. Apologies, scroll bug or whatever it is. And we've got, it looks like it's just continued creeping, although we do have 1 Fiend. This is a Scout Fiend for sure. Seeing that this is an awkwardly placed shrine. Look at how long these poor little imps need to walk to get to that Luminite mine, but that's just to maximize Therium mining, of course, a little bit later on. Army soaking up in those speedy juices, trying to get that speed boost. And, well, I feel like you just want that speed boost whenever you can. And if your army is idling somewhere, might as well send them over to the speed camp if it's nearby and get that speed juice. Creeping out the energy camp here. Looks like TheoRy's finally getting a little bit ahead in that creeping. Again, we only have 4 gaunts over here, which means Ritual Chamber and Plague Axe is already on the way. Again, sorry about that. Oh, and the imps let me in. But we had 6 gaunts, so Snoxtar pulled that gaunt production a little bit. So let's see, the timing here just at half and probably just about to finish. So again, little distinction between their timing, but not enough to really make a difference. If these armies end up smashing into each other, both of them are going to have Plague Axes. Let's just keep our eye on that one. These Fiends just trying to do a little run by, grab some towers, it looks like, but being chased away. This one is trying to get in and get some vision, it looks like. What's going on here? Sees another Conclave going down. Sees the space up and going. But is it going to run by and see the other double Luminite base? Oh, taken out before he sees. There is indeed another base, but Snoxtar is getting his 3rd up at the double Luminite as well. Just a wee bit behind again. I don't think these little timing differences can tell you too much. Of course, they can make a difference, but we're not going to be able to really see if they make a difference yet until one of these players is able to capitalize on it. But now we see that Fiend coming in to do that scout. And remember what I've said in previous ones, sometimes you tell on yourself when you scout. And he scouted the 3rd, and now TheoRy's going to scout the 3rd too to see, oh, you also put down your 3rd there. I don't know what the lesson of that is. It's not don't scout. Obviously you should scout. But perhaps if you have a very regular scouting pattern that you do every game, regardless of whether you're expanding or teching or whatever, that might be less telling then. And if you're up at the top levels, that's probably something you need to worry about. If you're down where I am, it doesn't really matter. Just focus on hitting your macro, making your builds, spending your money, microing your units in a battle, and that's how you're going to improve. Taking out the Luminite camps now. Both of them being a little more passive in this game. Again, Isle of Dread is certainly a map that allows you to do that. Speedy little army speeding out. Even that speedy little Weaver, oh, he loses his speed buff and it's like, oh, wait up for me, everybody. Wait up for me. Lots of pings going down over here. I have a feeling that's just some misclicking. Not really misclicking, it's just what happens when you press Alt to steal some units out of your control group and then also try and send them somewhere. Okay, I think we're starting to see these Fiends that we're scouting up here. We're able to scout the army location, and I wonder if TheoRy's trying to use that to try and do some damage. Because again, he sent that fiend right there and saw, I know how big your army is. And this is actually not good for Snoxtar, as that army is being caught split in two. Ooh, with lots of infests going down. We see a Nightfall infestation, but TheoRy ain't moving, so he ain't worried about that. And actually, this looks like it's probably good for TheoRy. Even those Weavers, those expensive Weavers going down, and now the Gaunts are right on top of the other Gaunts, infested. Trying to take out this other Weaver. Yes, get it before it teleports away. Now, getting a quick little surround on some Gaunts. Wary of that Shroud Stone, but I mean, there's nothing else here. It does have that double DPS, but it's taken out pretty quickly. And Snoxtar is going to have to come up with an answer for this large Gaunt Ball that is right now taking out his fourth. You'll notice here, as he's taking out his fourth, we see an Imp going to go make a fourth base, as well as a Shrine has now taken the double Ethereum. And it looks like TheoRy is not going to try and push this further. This is an interesting choice. He takes out that fourth base, just denies him that eco, and doesn't say try to push into the back of the natural here. You can usually assume that these trees have been taken down. So he could have just pushed in there, and it still gives him a nice retreat path, although you are a bit deep in there and open yourself up to a flank. That Imp went back to hell to visit his mom for a minute, and came back and said, no, I gotta do some work. I gotta immolate myself and become a shrine. This effigy being taken out with its emo death cry. A couple fiends doing that damage to the shrine while it's coming up. And now with these Gaunts, oh, getting on top of the slow Weavers again. Nice focus fire on that Weaver. Nice way to back up. There is a Magmadon there. Now, what's that Mag doing? He was fighting fiends, I think. A couple other Gaunts over here trying to get on top of these Hellborns. Nice micro out of TheoRy to come and take these high-cost units out of the way. Meanwhile, his army is depleting all those Weavers and Gaunts on the other side there. Actually, these Gaunts on the right are not doing quite as good as he had hoped. Those tanky Weavers and Hellborns are able to basically deal with them. A couple Brutes come up, and yeah, the Hellborn survives. But this larger army is not slowing down, is pushing into the back here. There are a couple farms there which are going to slow him down just a little bit. And the Hellborn has got time to reposition there. And wow, actually going for the creeps while this army pushes in. That's kind of daring. Maybe a little bit confident. And not with great positioning to battle into this army, especially with the Hellborn in the back there. At least it doesn't have the Molten Tusk yet. We get a Mana Fish Shroudstone in a real clumsy place to try and attack it. It's got a lot of surface area taken by trees and other buildings. That's good for Snoxtar, bad for TheoRy. But TheoRy's just running away. And basically, again, I denied some of your bases. I took out your army. Let me go back and handle my macro for a minute, remax, and come back with an even bigger advantage. As they say, when you're ahead, get more ahead. So again, one thing you can do to get more ahead is go back and retake all these creep camps that have refreshed. That just means some more income, of course, but also re-upping on those buffs. And of course, those buffs also get better as you get to later stages. Now, this is fun. Hey, let's share a base. Nope. No, says Snoxtar. Okay. That one's yours. And instead, he says, how about a Shroudstone? How about that? And these fiends come to try and deal with it, and should be able to do that. Yeah, Snoxtar gets a cancel. The poor Imp's just going to be sacrificed, but that's an Imp's life, basically. If you're lucky, you can spend a few days mining in the old Luminite mines or the Therium ore before you sacrifice yourself. There's so many ways to sacrifice yourself as an Imp. You can become a building, but you could also just light yourself on fire and charge into the enemy. That's a fun way to go. Okay, now we have this army coming back to deny this fourth again, and wow, that was a huge Nightfall infestation. I can't believe you can actually get that many. I assume that's what that was. I'm not sure how else that would have happened. We got a Hellborn being yanked in, but there's just so many Gaunts. We got a dragon on top breathing down its plague breath, and that's a GG out of Snoxtar, forcing game 3. All right, here we are in the final game of this best of three. It will all be decided here. In the top right, we have Aftermath's Theory in the red Infernal. And in the bottom left, we have his opponent and teammate, Snoxtar, in the blue Infernal. And two fun games already. Theory managing to take that last game with just a bunch of gaunts, sorry, and a strategy to just make sure he doesn't throw the game. And in fact, that's one way that I think one of the strengths of Theory is he knows that there are risky plays that might cause you to throw a game. And when he's really on his game, like it seems like he is today, he's not gonna make those risky, pushes into a well-defended natural and losing his whole army and allowing the tide to swing back. Now, interestingly, Snoxtar has gone and put his Conclave kind of in the back here. I wonder if that's... Yeah, it's not clear that Theory was able to spot that. And maybe that means, I mean, you see a single vault in your base, you usually are going to assume that that means that's going to be a single vault into an expand. So it's a little bit of a macro eco build. But if you see a vault and a conclave, that's maybe suggesting maybe more aggressive creeping or maybe some aggression in the early game. So we'll see what comes out here. Now, Theory is also a really good player, and he may have seen that there were some imps here on Therium. And if you're going vault expand, that's not usually what you do. Me or my phone there. Okay, so out of Theory, we have Gaunts to start, which makes sense out of his Conclave. I don't think he's put down a vault yet. He did win that last game with a lot of Gaunts, so he might be trying to lean into that style. Going for the Vision Camp before the Energy Camp, but Snoxtar has gone for the Energy Camp first, has a whole bunch of Fiends already running across the map. A couple Gaunts here. I think these Fiends are just trying to see, can they get some damage? That's a well-positioned farm, I guess. It also played a defensive role as those Fiends tried to come in and do some damage. Deciding it's probably best to just head on back home and take out his own Vision Camp. And that's a pretty big army already out of Snoxtar, and we haven't seen a shrine go down yet. Actually, we haven't seen a shrine go down. Oh no, we do see a shrine here, almost completely hidden by that heart. I think I've complained about that in some earlier casts, but for the mini-map we need a little bit different layering there. You usually want to see units before you want to see, is there a tower there or something like that? Is there a mine there? And this farm gets taken out, and that is also a signal to Theory that there is aggression coming. A lot of Fiends, some Gaunts, actually a pretty nice force of Gaunts here with a couple Brutes as well for tanking. And that's up against a lot of Gaunts. Now the thing is, the Gaunts can actually shred those Fiends pretty well as long as they can't get on them and do a lot of that DPS that they're good for. Now we do have Plague Axes already out of Snoxtar, and we don't have Plague Axes out of Theory. This could be the difference. We have Plague Axes are almost on the way, so we see that Theory is trying to reposition it just enough time until he's got that Plague Axes, and now the Plague Axes go down for Theory. He's going to try and get back in there. I think pulling his imps, yes, pulled his imps to fight is a great idea here. They got extra DPS. They'll also do a little bit of tanking. And I don't know, I think he needed to keep those imps in there a little bit longer because the snowball is happening. All the Fiends are appearing on Snoxtar's side. A couple of more Gaunts trying to pop out. Now the imps get repulled again. As I mentioned, I think they had to have been in the fight the whole time. Now they're just going to be going down. They're also getting infested, and this is not what you like to see. That's a GG out of Theory, and that's game 3.